So we just finished this big kitchen remodel. I don't know if anyone's done any big home projects, but yeah, we did a big kitchen remodel. It was the first big home project that we did that we hired out. Like I said, we're very DIY. We like to do as much around the house ourselves as we can. So, and we hired out this company, very professional. They had like a architectural plans and a design team and a flow chart. They're like, it's gonna be 10 weeks, everything's step by step. And we knew we were gonna be without a kitchen, so we turned our laundry room into like a kitchenette, you know? And I was like, honey, we can do this. We can handle 10 weeks without a kitchen. And that was 6 months ago. Okay, so you have done home projects. You understand. They started out so strong. I know the day one, the demo team showed up. They ripped everything out. And like one day, the entire kitchen was gone. The next day, the plumber showed up. They roughed in the plumbing. Then the electrician showed up. They roughed in the electrical. And then by the end of the week, they already had inspectors there to inspect the work so they could button up the floor and the walls. And I was like, wow, you guys are doing great. You're really cruising. They're like, yeah, we'll see you Monday morning, 8 a.m. I was like, all right. And then Monday, nobody showed up. Yeah, I was looking at my wife like, do we get ghosted? Did they break up with us? Is it over? Yeah, we didn't hear anything for a few days. Then we get a text. They said, sorry, we got busy with another job, but we finished that up. We'll be there tomorrow. We'll get back to work. And then little things started shaking my confidence in the crew. At one point, the guy was working on baseboard trim. I think we had like 24 total feet of baseboard trim. And the guy came up 6 feet short. Ran out of materials. And I was like, I mean, even I know, measure twice, cut once. You might want to get a little extra product. There's going to be some waste when you start cutting. I said, what happened? He goes, yeah, my numbers were a little off. He's like, I'm sorry about that. But he's like, I got to reorder some more trim boards. Those were custom trim boards, but I'll get those reordered. But with supply chain issues right now, it's probably going to be about 6 to 8 weeks on those trim boards. Yeah, so he got those ordered. And then at one point, this guy stops by. He goes, I got to measure your windows and your slider door so I can get those ordered. And I was like, you didn't order the windows and the sliding door 3 months ago when you had architectural plans? And he said, yeah, I'm sorry about that. But I want you to know that's 100% my fault. Yeah, something about the tone of his voice was so genuine. And I think he thought that maybe I thought it was my fault. Yeah, I was pretty confident that it was 0% my fault. But he goes, I'll go ahead and get those windows and that door ordered for you, but with supply chain issues right now, it's going to be about 6 to 8 weeks on those windows and the door. So that kind of slowed everything up. But eventually they finished, and the kitchen looks great. And then we everything up. But eventually they finished, and the kitchen looks great. And then we owed him the final payment for the work. And so what I did on that Monday was I just didn't send the check. Yeah, then they called me and they were like, hey, we didn't get the final payment. And I said, I'll get that right out to you. And then I didn't send the check. Then they called me and they were like, we still haven't received payment. And I was like, here's the deal, guys. I just wrote my last check, but I called the bank and I reordered checks. But with supply chain issues right now, it's going to be about 6 to 8 weeks on those checks. So I waited a month and a half, and then I called him up, and I was like, good news, fellas, checks came in. I'll get that right out to you. And then I mailed him the final check. And then they called me, because they were like, hey, we got the check, but the money's not all here. I said, yeah, my numbers were a little off. But I told him, I said, I want you to know that's 100% my fault.